In the original video that I made on this topic, one of the things that I said is you didn't really want to play a villain or an evil character, you wanted to play an anti-hero. And while yes, I still think that is generally some pretty solid advice, I also think it's closed-minded and not really taking into account the rest of what people want to do. See, there's a lot of different types of evil characters, and I think that there are a ton of different ways of playing them that could be really entertaining. The one I would genuinely recommend you just never play is the mustache twirling evil villain who does things for the sake of being evil. And that's not because just that's a D&D no-no and oh, everybody says you shouldn't do that. No, let me give you the exact reason as to why. That's a boring character. It's not even a character, it's an archetype. It's a 2D, non-dimensional, very boring character. There's nothing entertaining about that. There are roleplay games out there where you're supposed to just play an archetype for the sake of being an archetype. And hey, those are fun, go play those. But I don't think D&D is really the space for that. And so I would genuinely recommend you avoid such a type of character because it's not going to bring anything entertaining and frankly is just going to make the party not like you. But let's talk about the other archetypes, the evil characters that genuinely are interesting and ones that we've seen in media that are incredibly exciting to watch. The way I see it, there's 3 different types of evil characters that work. One is the evil character who does good things for bad reasons. And these are characters who are ones that genuinely do help, but they do so for their own gain. They start charities, but only so that they can have influence over the political system. Or they go out and they give money to people, but only so that they can gain power through that because people now expect them to give them money and become reliant on them. Those are the type of people who on the outside appear good, but inwardly they're very selfish. And I do genuinely think that's a fascinating archetype and one that can actually work very well in D&D. Imagine you had a party mate who just seemed to be a genuinely good dude, constantly doing good things and constantly getting through to everybody. But then eventually you learn he's only doing so that everybody becomes emotionally reliant on him. That is a fun plot twist and creates a very fascinating evil character. The other way that you can do it is playing a character who does evil things, but for good reasons. Now let me make it clear that I'm using the words evil and good, but evil and good are not black and white. Morally gray is how the world works, and so I'm using them as demonstrations, but I don't genuinely think all of the acts that I'm describing here are 100% evil or 100% good. I understand there's more nuance to it than that. But for a character who does those sort of evil things for good reasons, say they kill people, but because they're trying to do so to gain vengeance or to enact wrong on those who had done wrong to others. Think somebody like the Punisher. Somebody who does very villainous things, very harsh, morally gray things, but they do so because they want to make things right. That is also an incredibly morally complex character, and I think one that you are more often to find in your D&D games. Why? Well, because it makes sense. If you're somebody who's going adventuring, it's very likely you're a character who's trying to do right things, but you've done so for the wrong reasons. That much really wouldn't come as a surprise, now would it? And the third archetype I would really recommend trying out is the character who does evil things for evil reasons, but their goals align with the party. And this is where you get into the anti-villain territory or the anti-hero territory. What this means is you're playing a character who genuinely is just doing selfish things for selfish reasons. There's no if, ands, or but about that. They are a villain, but things just line up for them. Maybe the party is trying to take down a larger villain who's gotten in your way, and yeah, that makes perfect sense. You'd want to get rid of them, right? Or maybe the party is trying to attain a treasure that you genuinely want, and so you go along with them. Now, the reason this is a harder archetype to play is it means that you're inherently probably going to make decisions, even if your goals align, that cause problems for the party. You're probably going to be selfish, you're not going to want to work with them, and you as the player have to be aware that that's your character's weakness and find ways around it. Say your character is incredibly selfish and always wants the magic items for themselves. All right, well then you know that, but as a player, maybe you make up an excuse for why your character wouldn't notice the magic items, which can lead to fun conflict later. Or maybe you do take the magic dagger, but then the rogue convinces you later that it would actually be better suited for them because then they would do better at protecting you. And well, hard to argue with that, right? It doesn't mean that you always have to make the selfish decision. It does mean that you have to be intelligent about it, however. You have to make sure that you're not shooting yourself in the foot, as it were. That you're finding ways of working with the party, even if your character really doesn't want to. And that is what an evil character doing evil things will do. They don't want to work with everybody, but they're doing so for their own greater good. All 3 of these archetypes can be played at your table, but you have to be self-aware as them. If you want to play an evil character, you gotta have buy-in. From the table, from your DM, etc. And if you want to play a secretly evil character, make sure your DM's on board with that, because they can actually help enhance that. Make it more fun, make it more of a surprise and a twist, really play up the drama. But you gotta make sure that you're doing that properly.
Lawful evil can be fun to play. Because even though you tend to skew towards a darker morality, you understand the necessity of structure and order and the necessary circumstances in which you must make alliances you wouldn't normally have, which is one of the few alignments that can work in a good to neutral based group with an evil character. One, if they can keep that kind of under wraps, or conversely convince the party that it is a mutually beneficial arrangement. And they may not trust you, but they may still go along with you. And that gives you the opportunity to either try and convert other members of the party, or conversely, over time, maybe see the light.
Evil characters are an incredibly fascinating archetype and can bring so much joy to a table. I mean, think about it. How many fun stories have we had where there were evil characters who were redeemed, such as Zuko?
Hello, Zuko here. But I guess you probably already know me. But anyway, I'm good now. I mean, I thought I was good before, but now I realize I was bad. But anyway, I think it's time I joined your group.
Or evil characters that were trying to do the right thing and create an incredibly interesting and complex character as the main character, such as Breaking Bad. I mean, there's no way around saying it. Evil characters are interesting characters, but only if they're played complex, only if they're played dynamically, and only if you make sure that everybody in the story has a buy-in for them. Because if they don't, they're going to end up being an incredibly disappointing time, not only for the party, but for yourself. So go out and play an evil character and make the world your own. This video wouldn't be possible without the incredible, beautiful bastards over on our Patreon. I'd like to give an additional very personal thank you to the Divine Bastards Big D the Cool Guy, BKBW, Clark Smith, Diet Blue, Duplicolor, Frosteals, Manifestoring, Noctua, Rhea Rose, Rocky, Sorit, Supreme Court, Tin Eye, Void Mystic, Volplay Nico, and Zombies Were People Too. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without you guys, and you mean the absolute world to us. Keep being beautiful, keep being amazing, and as always, make the world your own.